Hey dark-themed comics fans! Are you ready to take your love for comics and pop culture to the next level? Introducing DTC Shop, your ultimate destination for custom-designed t-shirts and awesome digital comics. Whether you're into horror icons, anime legends, or the dark and gritty world of the boys, we've got something for every fan. Our high-quality, 100% cotton tees let you wear your fandom with pride, while our digital comics bring you epic stories you'll be hard-pressed to find anywhere else. So why wait? Head over to DTC Shop now and gear up with the coolest merch and some of the most underrated comics in the game. Because being a fan isn't just a hobby, it's a lifestyle. And now, our feature presentation.
The Doom franchise is one of the most iconic video game properties in history, credited with pioneering the first-person shooter genre and influencing countless games and media that followed. Its brutal action, sci-fi horror themes, and demon-slaying protagonist, the Doom Slayer, formerly Doom Guy, have made it a legend in gaming circles. But fewer fans are aware that Doom also spawned an official comic book adaptation, one that has gained infamy over time for reasons both hilarious and bewildering. The Doom comic book was published in 1996 by Dana Morshead and Steve Bailing, with artwork by Tom Grindberg, and served as a promotional tie-in for Doom 3 Hell on Earth. It was released at the 1996 San Diego Comic-Con and was never mass distributed, making it a rare collector's item today. Officially titled Doom Knee-Deep in the Dead, the comic is loosely based on the events of the early Doom games but takes heavy liberties with tone and storytelling. Rather than a serious sci-fi horror narrative, the comic leans into over-the-top violence, cheesy one-liners, and bizarre characterizations that feel more like a parody than a faithful adaptation. The comic follows the unnamed protagonist, referred to by fans as Doom Guy, as he rampages through a demonic invasion on a Mars base. Armed with a chainsaw, shotgun, BFG 9000, and unrelenting rage, he blasts his way through demons, zombies, and hellspawn in a glorified bloodbath. The comic features a surreal tone, extreme violence, and a Doom Guy who rants maniacally as he slaughters demons, making it more of a cult curiosity than a genuine attempt at lore expansion. At the time of release, the comic was mostly seen as a forgettable promotional item. However, in the internet age, it experienced a second life as fans began rediscovering its absurdity. The comic's hyper-aggressive tone, nonsensical dialogue, and raw 90s aesthetic became a source of both nostalgia and parody. Rather than being dismissed, it has now achieved meme status. Lines from the comic have been widely quoted, referenced in fan works, and even inspired lines in the 2016 reboot of Doom and Doom Eternal. For instance, the now iconic phrase "rip and tear" was borrowed directly from the comic and used to characterize the modern Doomslayer's unrelenting aggression. The Doom comic is not considered canon within the continuity of the games. It was a standalone piece of marketing fluff, disconnected from the actual narrative direction that the games would eventually take, especially with the more lore-driven Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. However, its cultural influence is undeniable. Elements of the comic have been embraced by the fanbase and developers alike, not for continuity, but for its contribution to the vibe of Doom as a franchise centered around relentless, cathartic action. Due to its limited release, physical copies of the Doom comic are rare and valuable. However, the comic has been officially released online for free and can be read as a PDF with ease via fan archives or through Doom fan community websites. The Doom comic book is less of a lore deep dive and more of a cultural artifact, one that captures the chaotic, testosterone-fueled spirit of the early FPS era. What it lacks in narrative sophistication, it more than makes up for in memorable lines, raw energy, and pure absurdity. Whether you're a die-hard Doom fan or just curious about one of the weirdest pieces of video game tie-in media ever made, the comic is worth a look, if only to understand where Rip and Tear truly came from.